The year is 2014, and swarms of people are digging in the New Mexican desert. For what exactly? Precious minerals? Oil? Well, far from it. It's good old Atari inventory. To find out why, you need to travel back to 1983. The video game market is in meltdown. There's too many consoles, too many games, and not enough store space. Actually, that's a pretty bad sum up. But the important info is that there were some bad games made, and a lot of them. Like millions. Pac-Man for the Atari 2600? Make 12 million of those bad boys. But sir, we've only sold 10 million Atari consoles. Are you really expecting 2 million people to buy an Atari just for Pac-Man?
I don't care. Do it anyways. The game isn't selling.
Yes sir, it turns out people don't like glitchy textures. We've only sold at max 8 million copies. That's 4 million copies we can't get rid of.
Take all of the unsold games and store them in our factories.
Sir, we've acquired the game rights to the movie E.T. How many copies should we make?
5 million.
Do you really expect 50% of all Atari owners to buy E.T. the game? Understood. Sir, we've only sold 1.5 million games. That means we have 3.5 million copies of E.T. that we can't get rid of.
This is your problem now.
Well, maybe not exactly like that. But in short, they took all these unsold copies of E.T., put them in a factory, then they sold the factory, and so they just decided to bury them in deserts. But here's that segue. E.T. for Atari 2600. Seen by many as the coffin nail of Atari and one of the worst games of all time. Start it up, and all the game shows you is E.T.'s face. Kinda weird. Until you realize the only reason they show you this is because the E.T. in the game looks nothing like him. And your first mission is to figure out what you're even supposed to do. You can travel to other screens by going up, down, left, or right. On these screens, you'll notice holes in the floor which you can fall into. If you're unlucky, you'll just instantly fall down a hole when moving between screens. At first, it's not too clear how to get out of them, but if you hold the button, E.T. will stretch out his neck and then fly upwards like he's being raptured. I don't remember that from the movie, and still, 90% of the time, E.T. just plummets back into the same hole. You may have also noticed that there's a number at the bottom of the screen rolling down every time you move. That's your life, and your score. When it hits 0, you die, though you actually have a few lives. On your travels, you'll see some strange things. Small pixels on the ground you can collect. Weird symbols that randomly appear at the top of the screen. What is that, a space invader? You also aren't alone in this game. As you walk around, sometimes a guy dressed as the Neighborhood Watch logo shows up and touches you? Right! There's also someone dressed in white who straight up kidnaps you and takes you back to their compound. Not too secure, is it? Okay, what exactly is happening in this game? That's where you need the manual. Oh boy, this looks complicated. Let's start off with the goal. You need to phone home and get off Earth. Well, how do you do this? You'll have to craft an interstellar phone with 3 pieces scattered around the map. Where are these pieces? In the holes, obviously. This is the gameplay? No wonder people don't like this game. Running around intentionally falling down holes? What's worse is again, trying to get out of these pits. Even the manual itself talks about it. Now while you could just keep doing this over and over until you find all 3 parts, there is an easier way. Remember those odd symbols at the top of the screen? They are spread around each area randomly and each have a different function. For instance, pressing the button when there are arrows will teleport you to that particular screen. If you find the question mark icon and then press the button, it will for a short period show you where a phone piece is. Okay, that makes it a little bit easier. That is, until the trench coat guy shows up. His one goal in life is to take away your phone pieces, and when he touches you, that's exactly what he does. He is relentless, flying over pits, moving at full speed, or appearing in the middle of nowhere without any warning. He is for sure in the top 10 most annoying video game enemies. But you do have some defenses. Firstly, holding down the button and moving will cause ET to floor it. However, not only does this kill you faster, you may unintentionally fly down into a well. A more useful defense is finding the symbol that looks like a prison. Activating this will cause whoever is on screen to run away. This also works on that kidnapper dressed in white. Turns out that's a scientist. Okay, that seems simple enough, but after being kidnapped a million times and groped by various FBI agents, you start running out of time. Life. By this point, you've probably amassed a horde of those green dark squares. But what are they? What do you do with them? Believe it or not, those squares are supposed to be candy. If you find the symbol that looks like an onigiri, you can convert those candies for more energy. With them, you can also activate the E symbol. This is where Elliot shows up. You can trade him your pieces for a better score at the end, or if you have 9, he will go track down a foam piece and bring it to you. Something else you might find is a flower that you can bring back to life. This is actually involved in some complicated Easter eggs, which I'll cover in another video. Okay, you get the foam pieces, you have enough time left, now what do? You need to track down that Space Invader symbol. This is how you call home. With the foam built and pressing the button, it'll activate a timer. In this short span, you have to find a specific landing zone back on that forest starting screen. It looks like a square with a cross with another square. If you don't make it there in time, you'll have to repeat the process. If you succeed, however, your ship comes back down and that's it. Game completed. E.T. is notorious for being one of the worst games of all time, but is it that bad? While it might not be one of the best games ever made, I can't say it's worse than some of the other games I've covered. You can find a copy of E.T. online for under $10. So, is it worth it?
It's pretty cool, I guess.